Good morning. Welcome back. I had some technical difficulties last week, so you may have noticed that episode 5 did not upload properly. So I'm re-recording. Apologies if you listen to the audio only copy that is in Spotify, iHeartRadio, some other streaming services. It didn't go up on the YouTube channel though, so I'm going to do it again, and we're going to give it a go and see what happens. So episode 5 was about team effort. And initially I thought that, I don't know, it didn't light a spark within me, to be honest. However, I thought, let's dig a bit deeper. There's got to be something to it. So let's dive. And I got looking into it, and there was some real gold in there that I discovered and I wanted to share with you. So let's kick things off. This is my belief. So please, as always, whenever you listen to any of my stuff, take what you want, leave what you don't. Okay? I believe that humans have always been pack animals. We thrive when we are in a group. And that's due to this innate psychological need for belonging and connectedness. At our core, we really want to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. And we want to feel like there are others who are like us. We like people who are like us. That's human nature. And that comes down to belonging and connectedness. Yep. When we're in a group atmosphere, taking away whether the intention is good or bad or whatever, we have a better chance of success at a common goal when we surround ourselves with people who support and challenge us within that goal setting. So when we're challenged, when we're supported, and when we're in an environment that's conducive to challenging us and making mistakes and having the support to learn from them safely, we learn what we're capable of. That's where our potential really kicks off, and we discover the strengths and resilience and things that we thought we were never capable of. They come to light. Yep. So it's really important to surround yourself with those sorts of people. So think of a couple of situations, for example. Okay, that's what I want to look at here. What about when you want to buy something new? So say the example of buying a new computer. How many times have you seen on social media when someone's dropped the question, hey, I'm upgrading my computer system. Should I go Mac this time? What's everyone's thoughts? Taking away from that I understand that that's sometimes used as a bit of that clickbait to try and get a movement on the algorithm, yada, yada, yada. I'm actually talking about when we seek out other people's opinions before we buy something. And bear in mind that even when you do research on products, recognize that you are still ultimately seeking out other people's opinions, even in research, aren't you? It's still other people's opinions that it comes down to, and their experiences and what's happened for them and how things have turned out. So we are still looking to connect with other people. And we're wanting to see how many other people have bought this. What's the group looking like? Where do I belong? What camp am I in? So do you see, we're still maybe unconsciously looking for that belonging and connectedness. What about when you want to start something new? Like maybe you want to try, a new hobby, start learning how to do pottery, or become a bike rider, or do a new class at the local gym, or something like that. When we do that sort of stuff, we have a better chance of success when we do it with someone else. It's actually a bit more rare, isn't it, for someone to just go, oh, well, I want to go and learn how to do pottery. So I'm just going to go and find a class. I'm going to go and sit in there. I'm just going to do it. That's a great attribute. And there are people who do that 100%. However, generally, I would put to you that we tend to like to do things in groups or with a friend We want another opinion. We want to be connected to someone else who's doing it or who's going to give it a go with us. We're going to either succeed together or we're going to fail together. But we're going to do it together. Connectedness, belonging. That's what it's all about. And what I've noticed about gyms, the ones that I've been a part of, is that where you see the most connectedness is actually in those group activities, isn't it? The group classes. That's what gets people going, and it invigorates them and inspires them to see other people doing the same thing they're doing. Yeah. The other example I wanted to talk about was when we have a lot on our plate, when we're super busy and we've got a lot of things that we're responsible for. Often we do try, so I use the word try, to do that all ourselves, and it can burn us out and it can make us feel taken for granted, used, all sorts of things, like we're on an island, I'm just doing this alone. And yet we often put ourselves in that position because we don't ask for help, right? And again, I want to go back to that in numbers we thrive. So when we've got a lot on our plate, think about successful people in business. It's probably the easiest way to visualize it is in business. Successful people know how to delegate. They understand the concept that we are all connected. We are all a group. We all need each other to do things. And when we can accept that and embrace it, as opposed to being threatened by it, that's where we thrive. When we understand that different people have different strengths, and if we can pool our resources and use that collective effort, that's when shit gets done. Yeah? Brilliant, brilliant. So here's a fun fact. I want to just give you a quick little fun fact that lines up with this little bit. So there has been studies done in sport and exercise psychology that I was reading about that actually show that the level of social support a person has plays quite a big role in how effectively they overcome injury and get back to their sport. So it's being recognized in many different fields that connectedness with others allows us to achieve more. Even when it comes to in sport, when you're overcoming an injury, who you have around you, if you have people around you who support you and challenge you, then you stand a greater chance of quickly, effectively, successfully overcoming injury and getting back to your sport. That's huge. I mean, that blew my mind. So that's in sport. However, we can adapt that to everyday life, can't we? So, at times, and I think we've all seen it, we've all perhaps done it ourselves, we tend to cut ourselves off. We isolate ourselves when things are getting too much, or when we're going through a difficult time, or when we're just exhausted. And we kind of become a little hermit and, crawl into our cave. And I guess we tell ourselves it's to recharge. And at times, absolutely, we're recharging, having a Netflix session on the couch. How long you do it for, though, that's a whole nother session. Here's what I want to say about that, though, is that isolation is a choice. We do choose to isolate ourselves. And when we do that, often, except for when we're doing it just for a bit of a quick recharge, where we just want to be alone with our own thoughts for a while, that's a great thing to do. I'm talking about when we're in a bit of a pity party and we're isolating ourselves. When, consciously we kind of know that other people would help us, or that we should talk to someone, or, where we're avoiding human contact because we're feeling like crap. So that's not recharging. That's avoiding human contact. That's what I'm talking about here when we choose to isolate ourselves because we're feeling like shit. Generally, I'm going to challenge you and say that when we choose that, it comes down to two reasons. Either or. Okay? Or both. Yeah. The first one is the underlying fear. We get scared, don't we? We get scared of being hurt, scared of being judged. I know mum guilt is huge, and we get scared that we're going to get judged for, you've only got one child. How can you be overwhelmed? I've got four. As mums, we're so hard on ourselves and then on other mums as well, aren't we? And yet it doesn't matter how many children you're looking after. If you're overwhelmed, you're overwhelmed. This just is. And we need to come together collectively and help each other out. So yeah, fear of being judged, fear of being hurt, fear of failure is a big one as well. And fear of a loss of control comes into it as well. Think of times where you think, oh, I should get some help with this. Oh, it's just better if I do it myself because I know how I want it done. That's a control thing, isn't it? You want it done a certain way. I'm terrible at this. I've got to be honest. That's one of my things that I work on. I turn down help because no, I've got it in my head. I know exactly how I want it done. And yet, well, what if someone helped you and they didn't quite do it that way? What's the worst that could happen? Underneath that, when you dig deeper, underneath it is a fear of getting it wrong, a fear of failure, a fear of being judged. Fear is there. I guarantee it. Fear is there. The second reason that we choose isolation is, do you know what? Perhaps we've just got the wrong kind of people around us. If you have to withdraw from your support group that your social group that you have, perhaps you're not actually hanging with the right people. And I think this often gets overlooked because we develop friendships over such a long time, don't we? That what we're not taking into account is that we grow and develop at a different pace, and sometimes different directions. And so you can maintain friendships, however, they're not necessarily part of your close support network because you're simply growing at different paces and you're going to drain each other because it's going to create a lack of understanding, misunderstandings, and trouble connecting because you're moving at different paces or perhaps you're going in different directions. And that's okay. It's okay. It doesn't mean you don't like each other anymore. You can still really like a person and not necessarily understand or agree with the direction that they are growing in. It's okay. Let them. And you do yours. And so perhaps, yeah, if you're getting drained instead of being supported and challenged, then it might be time to level up your support group and think about who you have in your circle, who is supporting you and challenging you. And it's also really important to be that person for someone else as well, for other people. Yeah. So make sure that what's your part in other people's journey? Are you holding them back? Are you judging, or are you supporting and challenging them? Are you calling them out on the bullshit? Are you reminding them of their potential? Things like that. Yep. So those are the sorts of things I ask you to question. Who are you investing your energy in? And are the people in your support group, are they investing their energy in you effectively? Is it being effective? Are you both growing, or is the group growing? So there's a couple of things to think about. I want to also talk about scrolling, the scroll hole. Here's my thoughts on that. We often get caught in the scroll hole, don't we? We get stuck in it. What if I were to tell you that the scroll hole and that scrolling is actually still a masked attempt to connect? We are still looking to connect with other humans. We just don't perhaps know what it is we're wanting to feel. So we scroll when we scroll. Perhaps we're looking for people who are going to say things or post things that make us feel seen or make us feel like, oh, they're like us, they understand me. Or maybe we're looking for someone to make us laugh and looking for a comedy relief. Maybe we're looking for someone who's got a terrible story that makes us feel better about our own life. Either way, what I want us to recognize is that when we're scrolling, we are still looking to connect. That's what's underneath it, belonging and connectedness. Connecting, it takes courage. I'm by no means suggesting that connecting with others is, yeah, easy, just get out there and do it. No worries. What are you doing? It's your fault. No, none of that. Connecting is difficult because it asks risk. And many of us have been hurt from connections, haven't we? And so I understand that it takes courage. However, when we can be courageous, when we can feel scared of making connections and putting ourselves out there, we can feel scared and a bit anxious about it. Absolutely. Still do it. When we still push through and take a chance and do it, we are inviting others to be courageous as well. We become a role model that it can be done, that you can be scared and do something anyway. And connectedness and belonging is something that we risk losing because we've become quite a disconnected society. So now more than ever, it's so important to recognize that we are all connected in some way. And if we can nurture that connectedness and nurture that belonging in ourselves and in others, we stand a greater chance of being successful at anything that we put our mind to. That collective effort is powerful. And so I challenge you to tap into it and see what you're capable of. All right, I trust you enjoyed this. Please join me for episode 6. I'm going to do mindfulness. And please always remember to like and subscribe and help me build Automatic Mouth and Talk Train. Good to talk to you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.